Hello everyone, my name is No Colt, but you can just call me Diego, and today we have another set review. This one is of the 42132 motorcycle. Before we get too deep into this video, I do want to address something. I am experimenting with using live voiceover as compared to the usual post commentary that I've done on my previous videos. So I do apologize if some things in this video feel a bit different. I'm still trying to find a proper compromise between the two formats. Anyway, this set was part of the 2022 Lego Technic lineup, and it goes for around $12.99 US dollars, or around 700 Philippine pesos in my country, and it contains 163 pieces. Looking at the box here, we have the motorcycle inside view with a background of a sort of mountainous area with a lot of tall, I guess, pine trees. And then flipping over the box, we see the B model for this set. It is a 2-in-1. This one is the custom bike. Depending on when you watch this, there should be a video up for this, so I will be linking it in the card in the top right corner of the video. But if you're watching this when this comes out, then I will be releasing it in the future, so do stay tuned for that. Looking over at the 163 pieces, we have a very somewhat limited selection of colors, I guess. Mostly gray, different shades of gray, and some red and black pieces. I think for me, the one that stood out the most were these treads here. I've never had a piece like this before. I shouldn't say treads, these are actually the chain that goes along the side of the motorcycle, because it is a chain-driven motorcycle, so it's pretty cool. Here I already have it assembled, because these individual pieces. Let me take this apart. These individual pieces are pretty small, and it's easy to lose them. Yeah, I don't really want that to happen. I'll keep it like this already. We also have some tires. Now, these aren't very interesting on their own, but one thing I do remember happening the first time I built this motorcycle, I switched around the two wheels. These are not identical, they actually have different widths. And if we look at the wheels themselves here, yeah, you can obviously see they are different. That's something I did not catch first time I built this. And then we have this sort of guitar pick half beam piece. Yeah, interesting shape, and these will be used for the engine. So yeah, pretty cool. And then as for the other stickered elements, we do have these things. I think these are like some sort of machinery that goes on the side of the motorcycle. Some detailing, I guess. And then we do have some interesting decals here. These decals do evoke some sort of biker gang vibe. That's pretty cool. They're pretty subtle, but I think it's nice. So yeah, those were some of the highlights I found throughout the set. I think we should just get straight into the build. And here we start the building process. We start off with the fake engine that's in this build. It actually does move, and it's really cool and very mesmerizing to look at. I did build it a bit wrong. You have to make sure the orientation in which you place the three guitar pick like pieces, make sure you put them in the right hole. But once you get all of that right, you can see it's a very simple formation anyway. And then a cool thing about this build is in the middle, folding up the two sides of the motorcycle to make it form one single piece is very satisfying to do, and it lines up very well. The angled pieces are really nice to look at. And then by this point, we have added the chain onto the gears with the back wheel already installed. Do note that it is the rear wheel that is the larger one of the two. As I mentioned before, I did mistake and mix up the two wheels upon first building. But with the front wheel installed, we've finished our motorcycle. And here we have the 42132 motorcycle. Yeah, that was such a fun build, and the end result is honestly So very satisfying. I just really enjoyed building this. I know red is a very basic color for Technic, but it fits very well. The red and then the different shades of gray and the black. I think the color contrast is done very well here. And if we try to pose it, it's very well balanced, I would say. There's no point where it sort of tips over anywhere. So you really can move the wheel as freely as you like. There's no point where you need to support it with your hands, which makes it very easy to play around with, which I appreciate. So what are the functions? Well, I mean, as we saw earlier in the build process, we have this very cool engine, this 3-piston engine here in the innards of the motorcycle. You can see it here, they're poking out. It's being controlled by the rear wheel by the use of a chain, which is really cool, very dynamic. If we just spin this rear wheel back and forth, you can see that the pistons are moving inside. Very cool. And even just on the outside, it's just cool to look at the chains being driven by the gears. And then we just have a very simple steering function that works pretty nicely too. And yeah, I just enjoyed looking at this. Overall, this build was very satisfying. I loved looking at it. All of the cool angles and color contrast between the red and the gray is just very satisfying, very appealing. Yeah, such a cool build, and I love the functionality. Anyway, that was my review of the 42132 motorcycle. Thanks for watching.